Okay, so we're all hearing about these left-wing publications like Politico, New York Times, and even Disney, along with many other random American-based left-leaning publications, having millions of dollars in subscriptions being paid to them directly from USAID's $40 billion taxpayer-funded honeypot. It's amounting to millions of dollars cumulatively. In fact, you know who was the first publication to publish the letter from the 51 former intel officials? You know, the ones that called the Hunter Biden laptop story Russian disinformation? Oh, it was Politico, ironically enough. But, folks, this isn't even like the first inch of snow on the very top of the very tip of the iceberg. You think Biden was bad with his son Hunter and all these things with James Comer that he found out with Ukraine, China, and foreign dealings, family members on board seats? You hold my beer. USAID corruption is real deep, and we're going back to its creation in the 60s. First, you know what USAID actually stands for? It's not USAID. It's United States Agency for International Development. Right. Pretty deceptive, ain't it? Their sole mission, at least on paper, is to the principal U.S. agency to extend assistance to countries recovering from disaster, trying to escape poverty, and engaging in democratic reforms? Many of the countries we're sending that money to have totally corrupt governments with no accountability. I mean, Ukraine being one of them, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Iraq, Sudan, and Haiti, to name a few, which I'm going to get to Haiti in a sec. But let's take a little walk down memory lane. The precursor to USAID was the International Cooperation Administration, the ICA. And why did they go away? Whoa, wow. In part, they were rebranded into USAID because of their participation in the Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba, where the U.S. government, disguised as a foreign aid, set up the failed invasion. 6 months later, it was rebranded into USAID by JFK. And throughout the Cold War, USAID was not only used for an asset for our intelligence community, but became a slush fund for Democrat agendas. Essentially, they funded a global shadow government. The irony of them complaining about Elon now is hilarious. Look, if you don't think, I know anything about this, folks, not every place I went in the world as a Navy SEAL was in the official capacity as a Navy SEAL. We worked with other agencies that you couldn't exactly disclose their funding sometimes. That's their niche, by the way. Somewhere, though, between funding covert operations in Cuba and Bill Clinton's presidency, Democrats figured out that they could profit from this through influence or leverage with your tax dollars. In 1995, if you recall, Bill Clinton pushed Haiti to drop its tariffs on imported rice. This absolutely destroyed the Haitian economy. But you know who it benefited? Rice farmers in Arkansas, the state where Clinton was just the governor of. It's no secret that the rice industry in Arkansas heavily supported Bill Clinton, not only for governor, but also for president. Subsequently, over the next 8 years, Clinton then redirected $850 million from USAID into NGOs, into Haiti, to compensate them for the rice industry that he destroyed, that enriched his donor industry back home, while importing rice, 70% of rice, back into Haiti from Arkansas, partially paid for by those USAID dollars. In 2010, Clinton, he then apologized for this. Oh, sorry, guys. That was convenient. Oh, yeah, that's right. That was conveniently right around the time of that huge earthquake. Who was Secretary of State? Oh, his wife, Hillary Clinton. Peter Schweitzer pointed this out in his 2016 documentary called Clinton Cash.
Up to $13 billion from international relief organizations. And of course, you had the official role of the State Department, which would be point on U.S. taxpayer dollars going to Haiti for the purposes of relief. Hillary Clinton's State Department would oversee the reconstruction effort, with Chief of Staff Cheryl Mills responsible for the allocation of U.S. tax dollars through USAID. And Bill Clinton, already appointed special envoy to Haiti for the United Nations, was named co-chair of the Interim Haiti Recovery Commission, along with a former Haitian prime minister.
So the sitting Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, appointed her husband, Bill, the former president who had formerly destroyed the Haitian economy, as the special envoy to rebuilding it, controlling $13 billion in taxpayer dollars in relief? Yeah, right. No conflict of interest there. Some of that relief, including building the Caracol Industrial Park in the north end of the island of Haiti, which wasn't even touched by the earthquake. And the land they built it on, they had to displace another 1,000 Haitian farmers. What did that industrial park produce? textiles. Who benefited from that? Especially since there were no longer tariffs that were waived because of the USAID investment into that factory. Gap, Old Navy, and Walmart. Just a quick browse shows that Walmart Foundation and the Walton Family Foundation gave multiple donations, as much as $5 million in total over the years, to the Clinton Foundation. Not to mention, many members of the family also maxed out to Hillary's presidential campaign. Gap and Old Navy also contributed, or at least their members contributed, to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Now, while all this was going on, the cleanup was still there in Haiti after the earthquake, getting billions more dollars in USAID money. And guess who was given lucrative contracts for rebuilding? Trump called this out in 2016. People with a front row seat and donations to the Clinton Foundation. And a lot of them got paid for projects they didn't complete.
For instance, the New Settlements program was supposed to build 15,000 homes for $53 million. Instead, it built 2,600 homes, less than a quarter of the original estimate, for $90 million, or $47 million over budget.
Pretty interesting, huh? That's all with USAID money, by the way. Gets even better. Haiti was known internationally for not opening up new mining contracts for over 50 years. You ever heard of a company called VCS Mining? Well, neither had anybody else at the time. They were granted the first mining contract in Haiti in over 50 years. And guess who was on their board? Tony Rodham, the brother of none other than the Secretary of State, Hillary Rodham Clinton. You thought Hunter Biden collecting 90 grand a year, well, on a board seat in Ukraine was bad? We're talking about $13 billion and more, mostly from USAID, that vanished. You see why Elon's looking into this? But you can do this everywhere. Pick a country. They did this in the Congo with the Guerrilla Coffee Alliance. USAID sent the $6 billion at the exact same time this overthrow happened. Hunter Biden's deal with China leveraged USAID dollars in Zambia and the Congo for battery-related mineral mining deals that benefited China. Venezuela, a country we consider an enemy, by the way, USAID money helped funnel migrants into Colombia on their way to America. Illegal migrants. And you can do this with a dozen more countries. Chad, in 2024, Chad got $69 million from USAID between 2008 and 2014. They received hundreds of millions of dollars more for clean drinking water and wells. You know how many resulted in getting built? 113, which is weird because this private nonprofit that doesn't receive any of those monies, Water Wells for America, on their website says it only costs $9,000 to build a single well. So 113 wells, $9,000, that's a little over $1 million by their math. Where's the other few $100 million that went to Chad? Nobody knows. There's no accountability for it. But I just got one more question. If USAID is supposed to be for international development, why did over tens of millions of dollars since 2016 find their way into the Tides Foundation, which funds left-wing causes in America like pro-Hamas protests, legal investigations, and opposition to Donald Trump's agenda? Now, Bill Kristol, who recently tweeted out that he prefers the deep state over Trump, oh man, he's the president of Defending Democracy. That got money from USAID via the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. You can check all this stuff yourself, folks. That's why the Democrats are freaking out, because the $40+ billion of USAID gets and does their bidding. I know this for a fact. When I was in the Trump administration in 2017, I was in charge of one of the granting arms of the federal government, and I found many of these things out, and I canceled millions of dollars of these grants. And I was forced out of the administration by the deep state for it. This is sweet vindication for me, but it's even sweeter for the country. These agencies, they install their pals who then grant out money to friendly organizations like DAI Global LLC. You ever heard of them? Well, you should. They got $272 million in just 1 year from USAID, who turned around and gave huge donations back to almost every single Democrat and Lindsey Graham. How do we defund this faster while blasting Dire Straits money for nothing on max volume, folks? Thank you, Elon. And this is less than 3 weeks into the administration. We got 4 more years of this, baby. Let's go.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.